and it's my pleasure to introduce to you President Bill Clinton. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wow. Hello, Bowling Green. Thank you. Thank you very much. The biggest increase in sales in Walmart were in home safes. Now you think about what that means. Not 1% of the people who shop at Walmart have more than $100,000 in a bank account. Don't you think that's right? So their bank accounts were completely insured, and yet they were so scared they thought they ought to take their money out of the bank and put it in the closet. Now, folks, when I was elected president, and thank you, Kentucky, you voted for me twice. I'm grateful for that. But wait a minute. When I was elected, people thought the previous government was out of touch and not dealing with the problems of the people, and the folks were in trouble. And I looked like I had half good sense, and you all kind of related to me because I was from Arkansas, so you gave me a chance to serve. But there was not, I think it's fair to say, there was not at that time an understanding that this is about more than personal failure. This is about different philosophies, different ideas, different parties, different policies. Now we know better. Why? Because President Bush got that example of the old saying that life's greatest curse can be answered prayers. He was the first person, the Republicans have been saying this stuff for 30 years, since the late 70s. He was the first president that ever had a Congress that would do whatever he wanted in the Senate led by Mitch McConnell. And for 6 of the 8 years, we got to see what would actually happen to America if they got to do what they had been talking about all this time. So now on Election Day, you're going to watch Barack Obama and Joe Biden and the Democrats preside over an earthquake of promise coming to change America. Why? Because now we know. Now we know this is not just about some mistake President Bush might have made. Their whole attitude is wrong. You cannot run a country like this from the top down. This is a middle-class country. This is a middle-class country. You got to run this country from the ground up. You have to give poor people a chance to work their way into the middle class. You've got to get families a chance to give health care to their kids. You've got to give people who work hard and are more productive a chance to have a raise. You've got to do that. And in order to do that, you have to make this country energy independent again and create millions and millions and millions of jobs doing that. You've got to make health care more affordable again so that families can afford, without worrying themselves sick, to stay well. We have to make college affordable. We've got to deal with all these issues again. And yes, we got to straighten this financial mess out again. So you have to ask yourself, who is more likely to make the changes we need that will fix the financial system, create an energy independent America, put the American people back to work, enable us to raise wages again, and do something about the health care crisis? Bruce Lunsford or Mitch McConnell? I don't think it's a close question, do you? And you can ask that question right up and down the line, because now we get it. We had the whole dose of what they've been advocating for 30 years, and we get it. And that's why you're going to see an earthquake on Election Day, starting with the presidential election and going all the way down the courthouse. But here's the point I want to make. And this is really important. This is why David Boswell's election is important. And this is why Bruce Lunsford's election is really important. If you want a new direction for America, most of what needs to be done has to require some kind of congressional action. And it's important that you have people that you know you can trust to think about you every time they vote. This wouldn't just be about our party, except now you know that our party does and most of them don't. Right? So every time you send somebody new to Congress, you send a message not only from Kentucky but to the rest of the country that you want to change. You want this country to work for ordinary people again. You don't want people to talk about family values. You want them to enable you to live family values. If you want a new government, it's not just enough to have a new president. You've got to have a different Congress and people that are voting for you. And now I want to tell you why this race is so important, and I want you to listen to me. I know this, okay? This is me, my experience. After the election, people will say, well, Barack Obama is president and he's got a House and he's got a Senate. The Democrats can do whatever they want. The answer to that is, number one, we shouldn't want to do that. We should want to get Republicans in the government and do things in a bipartisan way, and I hope that's the way we'll do it. We should try to do it. I had a Republican defense secretary. It was good for America. We worked together. But the second thing is, when it comes to the hard stuff, the economics, the energy independence, the health care, where you got to take on the interest groups, it's not necessarily true for this reason. The only bill you can pass with a majority vote in the United States Senate is a budget. Anything but the budget, if there are 41 U.S. senators that want to shut you down, they can do it. And I watched those Republicans work me over to you in '94, said, oh, Bill Clinton, not very good. He had all this Democratic Senate. He still couldn't do anything about health care. He couldn't do anything about health care because they said, if we pass a health care reform bill that helps America, the Democrats will be a majority party for 40 years, so we have to shut it all down, and all we have to do is hold 41, just 41. Now, I want you to remember that. Now, whether we get to 60 or not, if we get to 57 or 58, if one of the fatalities or casualties in this election is Senator McConnell, then the ones that are left will say, America wants us to cooperate with the Democrats and be Americans first and partisans later. That's what they'll say. Now, I want to tell you, I'm being serious here. I can't run for anything anymore. Hillary has done over 50 events in this election because she didn't run for herself, she ran for you. And I think that's why you voted for her. I think that's why you voted for her. So, look, we reached a point in our lives where we just want to change the country, okay? We want it to work for you again. Now, I'm telling you, I've been there. I know what I'm talking about. If you elect Bruce Lunsford in the face of Senator McConnell's attacks, and he is no longer the Republican leader, then the Republicans that are left, whether there's 42, 43, 44, or even 45 of them, will say, you know, maybe we better sit down and work something out with these Democrats and actually do something about energy and actually do something about health care and actually get this country going again. We better work together. If, on the other hand, you say, oh, I think I'll buy that negative stuff McConnell's doing. And even though he was one of the most important actors in Washington in the decisions that have led to the disastrous economic, energy, education, and international consequences we face today as a nation, if you decide to leave him there, then he'll be able to say, look, guys, all we got to do is get one more than 40 and shut them down on everything they try to do, because then we'll have everybody in America torn up and upset. We'll be able to do them like we did Bill Clinton in '94. We'll be able to go around and say, look, they had the White House, they had the Senate, they had the Congress, and they didn't do anything. Blame them and vote for us. And I'm going to tell you something. If you want that, then you should vote to re-elect Senator McConnell. But if you want to turn America around and get this country going, you should vote to elect Bruce Lunsford to the United States Senate. Thank you, and God bless you.